everyone. Marc Lobliner, CEO, MTS Nutrition, Chief Marketing Officer, TigerFitness.com, creator of the Hour Bar, as well as partner in the Ambrosia Collective and Iron Addicts Gym in Long Beach, California. So, I want to tell you guys a story. When I was the first day, I was at the American Grit set in Washington State, Mount Rainier. I'm not afraid of heights, I respect heights. And the first thing they had us do, after doing this long run in the dark, whatever, all crazy stuff, is they had us rappel from this epic bridge. I don't even know how high it was. I just know that whatever fell from there would die. Okay, into this roaring river, super high. And I looked at it, and I was afraid. I was shaking. It was cold. I was shaking. I was frightened. But you know what? I had to do it. Had to face my fear. I had to get out there. I didn't want to make a fool of myself in front of everybody on TV. Other people were crying. I kept my cool, kept my composure. And what that amounted to was probably one of my favorite pictures ever taken of me rappelling in American flag tights over this gorgeous backdrop, thousands or hundreds or whatever feet in the air. And then they did a picture of me and put it all over with John Cena standing in the foreground and me in the background, rappelling from this beautiful bridge. I was scared, I was shaking, but I faced it. I faced my fears. Why am I talking about this? Because we have a society that has been driven to fear via the fear-mongering media and politics. Look, I don't want this to be on a political video. Everybody who watches this channel more than once knows my stance on lockdowns and masks. Just to surmise, I believe lockdowns were the greatest mistake in modern-day human history. Obviously, we can't compare it to mistakes like slavery or internment camps or anything of that nature, but as far as a societal thing, we did more damage to the economy for something that probably won't help us at all in the grand scheme of things. And we're sitting here and we're still doing them. And nobody's speaking out about it. That's why I decided to speak out about it. And if you disagree with me, good. That's the beautiful thing about this country. We can still disagree with each other. I think masks are stupid. I don't think they prevent anything. Further case in point, New York City, with severe mask mandates, is locking down, I believe, 9 sections of the city, closing schools, closing gyms, closing organized sports, and they wear masks. Yet my town, Williamson County in Tennessee, no mask mandate. People are still wearing masks, which I think it's your right to wear a mask. If you want to wear a mask, if you want to wear a ball gag, if you want to walk around with anal beads inserted in your rectum all day long, by all means do it. But that's my opinion on those. But this video is not about that. President Donald Trump, love him, hate him, indifferent, want him to win in 4 weeks, want him to lose in 4 weeks, don't care. He said something that struck me. He said something that I've been saying since March. Don't be afraid of COVID. Don't let it dominate your life. That goes for everything we have around us. The flu, killing upwards of 100,000 people a year. More dangerous to young people than COVID-19. We never shut down. We never put masks on. We learned to live with it. We were brave. We got out, we did our jobs, we supported our family. We knew that sending our kids to school, that the kid next to them might have the flu. Yet we still sent them to school because society needs to keep running. Because the cost of keeping a child at home isolated on their mental and physical state is much worse than a virus with a near 0% chance of killing anybody under the age of 60. This is overreaction. And it's also scary how my fellow citizen has become so just paralyzed with fear that they refuse to live their lives. America is a nation of fighters. We're a nation that during World War II, the men went off to war and the women stayed back and took over the jobs of the men. We are a society that just says no to tyranny and just says no to runaway poor leadership. Yet here we are. And if someone like me has an opinion that questions the narrative forced down our throats by the mainstream media and these nefarious, tyrannous politicians, that you call me evil, you say I want to kill people, you call me stupid, you question my credentials because I'm not as credentialed as Dr. Fauci, the same Dr. Fauci who in March said that masks do nothing and now insists that we all walk around looking like sheep with face diapers on us. It's ridiculous. It is stupid. And it is wrong. America is a nation of fighters. It's a nation of strong people. It's a nation of free will. It's a nation of freedom. Yet here we are, letting our overlords tell us to lock down. And I believe it's your right to lock down. I believe it's your right to wear masks. I believe it's your right to not send your children to school. But I do not believe that we need to mandate that everybody locks down, that everybody's restricted, that everybody can't go to the gym, to the bar, to wherever they choose to go. And hey, gyms don't have to open. The gyms who want to take that risk may open. The gyms who do not want to take that risk don't have to open. People who want to go to the gyms should be able to go to the gyms. People who don't want to go to the gyms should be able to not go to the gyms. People who want to wear masks should be able to wear masks. People who don't want to wear masks should be able to not wear masks. That's what freedom is. And if people not wearing masks in public scares you, don't leave your house. Don't ever leave your house. Sit in your basement with your mask on and watch reruns of Ellen DeGeneres, okay? That's your right as an American. We can't live our lives paralyzed with fear. The same way that I overcame my fear of rappelling off that bridge, you need to overcome your fear of fighting the evil, nefarious narrative of the mainstream media. Oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist. I encourage you guys to look up where the term conspiracy theorist came about. It was a word or a phrase put forth by the CIA to discredit those who actually might find the truth about the operations they were doing. You think it sounds out of touch? It's actually the truth. But that's the problem. We refuse to acknowledge history. We refuse to acknowledge truth. We refuse to look at our past. I donated blood at the American Red Cross in Tennessee yesterday, and I spoke to many nurses because I talk a lot. Now, the number one thing I noted, every single nurse I talked to did not want to wear a mask. They thought they were stupid, and they're just doing it because they have to. That's number one. Number two is that nobody knew history. One of the nurses I spoke to, we were talking about the fact that in April, the government literally admitted that there are UFOs. They admitted there's aliens. They did. Look it up. And nobody cared because we're too busy worried about Orange Man Bad. We're too busy worried about COVID-19, a virus as deadly or slightly less deadly than the flu for at least a majority of the population. Crazy, right? So we fail to realize this is not the craziest time in American history. Do you guys realize that once there was a president, I forgot which one it was, who actually got in a bar fight with a senator and shot him in his arm? You probably didn't know that. Let's not forget slavery. Less than, as Joe Rogan says, 3 people ago, we literally had people enslaved on the American continent. Right. In the 1940s, a Democrat president, I'm saying that because it shows that both parties have the ability to be stupid, threw old Japanese Americans in internment camps because we were at war with Japan. Imagine today if we rounded up all, let's say we're at war with Syria. We rounded up all Arabs and threw them in internment camps. We did that. And that was within the lifetime of people who are still alive right now. Your grandparents might have been alive through that situation. For some watching this, your parents. Hell, looking at my age, for some, you might have lived through it. I get a lot of old people watching this shit. They come up to me at trade shows, I'm like, damn, you're old as fuck. So if you're 80 years old, you were alive to see Japanese people thrown into internment camps. In 1862, James K. Polk literally took over part of Mexico, and we still have it. Texas, New Mexico, California, just because he was an imperialist. It's what we fucking did. Don't forget, in the, I believe the 80s, we had Cuba aiming missiles right at us. We had the Cold War in the 80s. You think our presidents are bad now? Ha! Have you looked into Jimmy Carter, Woodrow Wilson? Have you looked into the presidents who potentially might have cross-dressed? Not that there's anything wrong with that. I like to dress a little sexy once in a while. America and the world is in the most civilized state it's ever been. But in my lifetime, we've had Desert Storm, we've had Desert Shield, we've had some shit go on. But it's not that crazy. We've had it so good that we don't know how bad it truly can get. America and the world is just going through a bit of a check. But this is not the craziest it's ever been. And COVID-19 is not the worst thing that's ever happened. In 1918, we had the Spanish flu. By the way, guys, I have no notes. This is all off the top of my head. My wife, that poor woman sitting in the office across from me who can't hear me right now, she had to hear me go through this for about an hour as she tried to go to sleep last night. That poor woman needs your prayers. So, I love this shit. I love history. And I encourage all of you to read about history. Now, with the Spanish flu, they did wear paper masks. And they also found out at that time they do nothing, which they will find out from these masks, based on the fact that people who wear masks in areas who have masks have actually done worse than areas that don't have masks. The mask mandates have actually shown to increase the rate of infection if you look at these reports. I encourage you to look at them. They're out there. The CDC has them. If you look at where LA started its mask mandates, that's when it really, really spiked. So, it would have gotten higher. Prove it. You can't. Somebody said on this YouTube live yesterday, I did on this very channel, somebody said that if we all wore masks, we'd save 10,000 lives a day. We're literally just making shit up and claiming that it's science. That's what's really fucking crazy. Yet all I ask is for a double-blind, placebo-controlled study on masks and COVID-19. COVID-19, a disease that's so deadly that up in Nashville, when it first came about, they were paying people to get infected with it to see what it does in the body. A disease so deadly that our White House speaker, right, Kayleigh, that she had to get tested to even know she had it because she has no symptoms. Sure, it affects elderly quite dramatically, and that's why we need to shelter them. But then you need to ask yourself why. Why did Governor Cuomo, Governor Murphy, Governor Whitmer, and other nefarious, evil governors force nursing homes to take in COVID-infected patients to the most at-risk populations? My guess, it was to pad the numbers to allow for further lockdowns and mandates, to give a reason for it. To pad the numbers, 40% of deaths from COVID are in nursing homes. 85% of people hospitalized with COVID are low in vitamin D. That leads me to another point. We have treatments for it, okay? We have therapeutics for it. For example, I just did a video the other day. I do have notes on this. A stack I put together on Tiger Fitness because I use it. Vitamin C, quercetin, zinc, vitamin D. Those are all things you can take that prevent your body from replicating viruses. Prevents viral replication. Yet the government isn't telling us to take vitamin D. It's not telling us to go and buy vitamin D. It's telling us to put on a mask. I have data to show that vitamin D will help with diseases and influenzas and coronaviruses similar to COVID-19. However, there's not one study on COVID doing anything for the flu, on masks doing anything for the flu or for COVID. Yet they're mandating them. Why don't they mandate vitamin D? Question this, guys. Look, if this video offends you, good. You need to hear it. You need to question it. If you think I'm full of shit, good. But I encourage you to read about everything I've talked about, from how fucked up history was to everything going on, because we're being played. And I need to end with this. I'm not going to say who to vote for, but the president who is pushing mass mandates of masks, that's not the guy. All right, guys, I'm Marc Lobliner. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Marc Lobliner, Twitter at Marc Lobliner, Facebook at Marc Lobliner. Subscribe to this very channel, like this video, and remember, that's not a gift.